This is the O Review podcast. O Review.
Welcome. Today I'm going to look at something that I picked up for my daily wear. Last year I had picked up the Drop Point, and it was a pretty good pair. It was something that was going to suit my needs for keeping in the car, wearing on a daily basis. I mainly wanted something that didn't have any unobtainium, just because the humidity here can be somewhat strong at times. And if you have any ear socks, those can tend to get gummy, get sort of gross after a while. So it's something that if you don't have it, it's usually a little bit better for the weather that we have here. So the Drop Point's been a fairly good one. I've been using it for about a year now, and really no complaints. But I wanted to get something new for this year. And I actually did pick this up a few months ago, so I've been wearing this for a while. Took me a little bit to get to do a review, but I wanted to wear it for a while just to see how the comfort was and how it fit compared to the Drop Point. So the Drop Point is a full frame, and it's a little bit bulkier. I mean, not too crazy, but it does have a bit more O-matter and a bit more frame around everything. So I moved over to the Sliver Edge. This one is very light. It doesn't have any frame at the bottom, so it is a half frame. And it's very slender, too. So it fits really close to your head. So a while back in 2014, we ended up with the Sliver F, the Sliver Foldable. So it was pretty much just like a normal lifestyle frame, kind of mimicking like the Holbrook or the Enduro. And the gimmick was that you could fold the stem in half here and then tuck it away, and it would fit into the very low-profile case that it came with. I did like these. Oakley has sent me a couple of them, and I do have a couple of reviews out there for this model specifically. But I don't think they did too well as far as performance and sales go. Immediately after, the next year in 2015, they came out with the regular Sliver. So this one is pretty much the same thing, but it doesn't have that extra foldable stem. But it fits pretty nice, and I'm usually not a lifestyle person as far as frames go, but I really like the Sliver. I like the F, I like the standard one. And I did end up picking up a couple of them just for normal use. They also came out with a few interesting colors like the uranium, so I ended up getting a few of those as well. And in 2016, they branched out to a couple other ones. There was a Sliver R for round, so you have F for foldable, the standard, R for round, and then the Sliver XL for extra large, which has sort of a larger lens to it. 2 years have passed since then, and nothing really came out in 2017, but in 2018 we came out with two more. We had the Sliver Stealth, which is a very small version. I feel it looks very similar to like a spiritual successor to the 5's 2.0, and I was toying with getting that one. There was a matte clear frame almost similar to this one, but ultimately ended up passing on it in favor of the Sliver Edge, which is the half frame version. So they're all going to have very similar stylings. So if you look at the ear stem on everything starting with the original foldable all the way up to the Edge, it's going to have a very thin, flat ear stem with a little bit of a dimple at the end, which is going to help sort of catch the end of your ear. So it doesn't have any curving ear stems, but it is going to have a little bit of extra grip to it. They're both going to be very flat profile, so there's really no extraneous bumps or bulges or anything like that. It's a very flat frame from the tip of the ear stem all the way across the orbitals and then to the other side. As far as fit goes, it's really nice. Being so flat and so thin, it really fits right to your face. So if you're wearing this under like a motorcycle helmet or a biking helmet or something like that, it's really going to work pretty well. I just like it because it's light and it's unbulky, and I can kind of keep it in my car in a very thin micro bag in my console, and it fits away. It doesn't really take up much room. I currently have Prism Ruby, which is one of the newer lifestyle prism lenses. So Prism Ruby has a very nice, dark, deep red to it, almost like the rubies way back in the mid-2000s or so. And then the base color you look through it is, it's not neutral, but it is a little bit more on the, I don't want to say green, but it's definitely not the blue that you're used to in the traditional ruby. I'd say it's more like an old generation fire, would probably be the closest comparison. I believe it does use the Prism Gray base, or the Prism Universal, but the fact that there's so much light is being reflected from the red spectrum, that's being subtracted from what passes through it, so therefore it's going to have a little bit of an opposite effect. So it's just going to be more towards like a very slight green to it, just like the old fire would do. So I do recommend these. It's not a very expensive pair. I believe Oakley's also been doing some promotions, or if you get any sort of prism lens, whether it be a sport prism or even a lifestyle prism, you get $35 off. So this brought it down from its original price down a bit, and it made it not too bad of a purchase. So since I'm going to be wearing this a lot, it was definitely a good pickup, and I'll probably end up wearing this for the remainder of the year. And maybe next summer I'll see what else is out there, and maybe I might pick up something new. But for the time being, this is going to be my daily, and I'm pretty happy with it. Another thing is I also are starting to put in these badges here. So one point of contention, they used to have made in USA printed, or not printed, but like embossed into every frame. When Oakley started manufacturing some outside the USA, it didn't make sense to have two different molds, one with USA and one without it, so they just took it off of everything. So eventually they started printing it, with like either a rubber stamp or something like that, and putting the USA back on it. But now what they're doing is they're actually putting sort of a chip in here, which is going to allow them to snap in something that either says USA made or USA assembled. So this one is USA assembled. Basically means the parts were probably made, they could have been made here. 80% are still made in the country, but they can't be sure of that. So they put in the USA assembled, meaning at least it was put together in the factory here. There are going to be other ones that say USA made, and those are the ones that are from top to bottom going to be 100% made in the country. So those are probably going to start out being more of the SI ones, the things that have to be made in here. But it's nice that they're putting that back in, and it's not just sort of a regular rubber stamp or something like that. So if you see those, definitely give them a try. I'm going to hopefully enjoy this for the rest of the year. And as always, thank you.